Okay, so right. So next we're gonna have Kate. I'm gonna invite her on here. Hold on a second, and I'll get her on here. See if the split screen. So Kate, you're gonna come on now. There we go. So just a smidgen. All right, Kate. So let me introduce you. Where am I going? Over here. There we are. Okay. So Kate, let me introduce you. As I was saying, whenever you hear about someone on Facebook saying, "Oh, can someone please recommend, somebody to help with post-birth exercise or something?" Your name always comes up, and that's why I know that it's so. You must have honestly had hundreds of women that you've trained over time. That they come to you because you're a mom and you understand what that's like. And I know that you're quite motivated with the whole concept of fitness and motherhood. And you work predominantly in the Richmond borough, don't you? We're quite local here in Richmond. And I know that having kids yourself, that it's given you a kind of a different perspective now on fitness. So I'll pass it over to you. Okay. If you want to just share again about what the role of fitness would be, sure. That immediate time, and it may not be necessarily about going out and how to go and start exercising, but what it means with regards to our bodies after giving birth and getting back into that rhythm or getting back in shape. I'm just going to make myself small. Let's see if this happens. There you go. So you're
okay. So yes. So as I've been introduced so beautifully, thank you. I've been specialising in postnatal exercise for over a decade now, and I have worked with probably hundreds of new mums. And first off, I want to thank Rosie for what she said, because I think the most important thing to be thinking about in the first couple of weeks is that you have a new job as a new mum. Your job, yes, is to look after and nourish and protect your baby, but also your body has a job of healing and looking after itself. So whilst I am a postnatal exercise instructor and personal trainer, in that first couple of weeks, I think the most important thing is for your body to be given the time to heal. So this is not the time to be exercising. In fact, let's extend that from the first couple of weeks to at least the first 6 weeks. So your GP should see you around the 6 to 8 week mark to assess you, and sometimes they will give you the sign off to exercise. That's possibly a conversation for a different Facebook Live, because we're just talking about the first 2 weeks. But the things that I wanted to talk about were support. So one of my specialised areas is pelvic floor and core, which for any woman who has had a baby or any woman who is pregnant will know goes through a huge amount of change in pregnancy and in birth, whether you are birthing vaginally or via C-section. And also continues to go through change as you go through the postnatal period and beyond. So the thing that I really wanted to talk about tonight, with the remit being the first couple of weeks, is the internal support that you're going to try and start to build alongside feeding your baby and nourishing yourself and nourishing your baby and making sure that you're keeping your new person safe and well. So often you will be told by midwives and health visitors that it's time to start doing your pelvic floor, and they are right. However, for a lot of new mums, especially if they've birthed vaginally, it's almost impossible, I think, in the early days, I'm speaking from experience, to know what they mean or be able to feel it. But your body is very clever. Your body does start to heal by itself. So the mantra really that I want to give in terms of movement, and you will be moving even if you're not exercising, is to always exhale on exertion. So exhale when you are doing anything that feels like work. Now, work in those early hours, days, weeks after having a baby can be literally getting yourself off the sofa whilst holding your baby, because that involves exertion. That involves holding something of weight. So the body's really clever. I've got a little prop. Kids use this to play with. Not my kids, because they're teenagers now. But this I use. I don't know if you can see it.
Put it on the other side of it. Yeah.
This, I think, is a nice way of sort of showing a breath, like a breath cycle. So just a little quick bit of anatomy with your core. If you, I'm going to have to go this side. If you imagine your core being like a cylinder, you've got your diaphragm at the top and you've got your pelvic floor at the bottom.
I'm just going to get rid of myself so you can see.
Okay. Bye-bye. So you've got your diaphragm at the top and you've got your pelvic floor at the bottom. And this all works with your breath. So when this happens naturally, when you inhale, you get a little bit of relaxation in your pelvic floor and you get a little bit of relaxation in your diaphragm and your tummy muscles. That happens when you inhale. When you exhale, the opposite happens. You get a little bit of natural tension in your pelvic floor and your diaphragm lifts a little. Now, that little bit of natural tension in your pelvic floor, you might not feel, but there will be a little bit of firing of that muscle. So as a new mum, as somebody who's just given birth, and this is relevant to the mums who've given birth via C-section as well, because you've still carried that baby on your pelvic floor. The pelvic floor has had some stress. As you exhale, a little bit of tension goes into the pelvic floor and it protects it. So we want to be avoiding pressure, and pressure can come internally from bodily functions like sneezing, coughing, laughing, and it can come externally from lifting something like a baby or a car seat or lugging a pushchair up some steps or lifting your washing or anything like that. So when you are going to do something that involves effort, then take a big breath in to prepare, breathe out when you do the lift or when you move yourself, and you'll get that natural elevation in the pelvic floor. So that's my first tip, and that's quite a big one. So I'm starting with the idea of support and I'm working from the inside out. So my second tip on support is a bit more of an external support. So if you've had a C-section, if you're going to do something that involves effort, again, if you know that if you've developed a cough or a sneeze, if you know you're going to laugh, consider getting a little rolled up towel and just being able to place it over your C-section scar just to give yourself that support. Again, when you're doing the effort, when you're doing the movement, or if you can feel that you're going to sneeze or cough, you can't always predict it, but if you can, a little bit of support there. And in fact, I'm not a big fan of the abdominal wraps and that kind of support, but whilst you're in this initial postnatal period, a good pair of big comfy support pants is a good idea, however you've birthed, because that'll just give the tummy a little bit of extra external support. So that's the kind of the external support. And then I think Rosie covered it really, really well, but I wanted to take that idea of support beyond your own body and into the acceptance of help, the requests for help. And perhaps if you're watching this Facebook Live and you're pregnant and you're thinking about the first couple of weeks, I think it's almost important to organise proper, reliable help rather than just waiting for somebody to offer. Perhaps thinking about who will be around who can do things for you on a regular basis, whether that's cook meals, collect older children from nursery or school, take the dry cleaning, get the washing sorted for you. If you have people like that, brilliant. If you don't and people are offering, like Rosie said, make a list of what would actually be useful. People do want to help. And sometimes you can be asked if you need anything done and you'll just go, no, it's all fine, it's all fine. But having a list of things that would actually help you is really important. So I haven't timed it. I don't know if I've done 5 minutes, but they're my three top things. Exhale on the effort of any movement or anything that creates pressure in the body. It will protect your tummy. It will protect your pelvic floor. Add a little bit of external support to yourself if you know that you've got to do something that is effort, especially if you're protecting and healing a C-section scar, and just ask and accept help as much as you can. So that's my top tips.
Yeah. I mean, I really liked what you said about external support, because whenever I used to sneeze, you know, my pelvic floor wasn't
worried what's going to happen.
And I'm embarrassed to say this, but I think I peed a little bit every time I would laugh really hard or sneeze.
Yeah, that's really, really, really common. And it can be embarrassing. It's incredibly common. Especially in those early weeks. And actually what I would say is when you have that consultation with the GP at the 6 to 8 week mark, assuming you're lucky enough to have one, because I think some you know, some places now it's not happening or it's rolled in with the babies. Please, if you have symptoms like that, especially further down the line, it is worth mentioning, because there's a load of help out there for that. But yeah, in the early days, that is really common. So yeah.
Well, very good advice. Really good advice. So external and kind of internal.
Yeah, using the breath to start with.
I never thought about that. Yeah, that's a really good one. So I wish I knew all of this stuff before. But anyway, it's gone. I have to let it go. So I have a 5-year-old and that's it. I need to just not get so wound up on it. But that's why. Anyway, so yeah, fantastic. Thanks so much, Kate. Really appreciate joining.